Over this past weekend, I finally beat Spider-Man for PlayStation 4, and you know what? I should probably put this down. I haven't been able to put it down since I got it a couple weeks ago, and it's just attachment issues. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I was saying that I finally got done with Spider-Man this past weekend, and I have to talk about it. I've been bursting. I've been salivating at the seams of my mouth and my internal stuff to talk about this game. There is so much to talk about, but unfortunately I'm one of those people that don't like having like extra long videos on YouTube. I know that there's only 24 hours in a day, and some people are not gonna have the time to actually sit down and watch, I don't know, 30-minute videos and shit. So I usually try to keep my videos condensed, so I'm gonna try to talk about as much as I can talk about with Spider-Man, but if I forget something, trust me, it's not because I actually forgot. It's just because the video would be too long if I included everything. Like I said, Spider-Man is a new game developed by Insomniac for PlayStation 4, exclusively for PlayStation 4. Sorry, Xbox people, you're just gonna have to hold that L for right now. It's a whole new original story, not based on a comic or a movie or anything like that, although it certainly takes elements and inspiration from all of them to a certain degree. Don't let the Superman beanie fool you. I have been a lifelong, diehard Spider-Man fan for my entire life. Anybody who knows me knows how crazy I am about Spider-Man. Spider-Man is my guy, dude. I mean, I started off with the animated series when I was just a kid, and then the animated series got me into the comics. I love the Spider-Man comics, obviously. Who doesn't like Spider-Man comics? And it just kept going from there. Every animated TV show, every live-action movie, I have been there for all of them. I have processed all of them, and I am here to tell you that Spider-Man for PlayStation 4 is not only one of the greatest Spider-Man stories ever told, but it obliterates every single Spider-Man game that has ever been created. Spider-Man 2 was like one of my favorites. It might have been my all-time favorite Spider-Man game if I'm actually looking at it going into the game. But now I'm kind of embarrassed that I actually thought Spider-Man 2 was a great game. Like, this game just shits all over that game. And how was I supposed to know that this greatness would be awaiting me in my future? This game nails everything that I have ever wanted to see, everything that I've ever wanted to do, everything I have ever wanted to experience as Spider-Man swinging around New York City. This game literally has it all when it comes to Spider-Man. From the visuals to the gameplay, the swinging, the challenges, the side missions, the villains, the story, the voice acting, everything is A1. Everything is turned up as loud as it can go, as good as it can get. You can tell that the people who made it are passionate because there are so many moments scattered throughout the game that are direct callbacks to other moments in comics, or maybe another animated TV show, or maybe a live action movie. There's a great moment after you get done fighting Mr. Negative on a train in the subway where you're trying to stop the train and he tries to use the web thing that he did in Spider-Man 2. If you remember the live action Spider-Man 2 movie, you know exactly how he stopped that train. He tries to stop it that same way here. It doesn't work, and then he says something like, "Oh my god, I could have sworn that worked the last time I did it." Not only are there references to Spider-Man lore and characters and locations and things that you would recognize if you know anything about Spider-Man's history, but there's also a love letter to Marvel hidden somewhere in this game. So many cool references and shout-outs to other Marvel characters and other people that live in New York that Spider-Man happens to frequent throughout his travels. If you're looking for Daredevil shit, if you're looking for Iron Fist shit, if you're looking for Luke Cage, if you're looking for the Avengers, Black Panther, pretty much anybody who has had any kind of tie to Spider-Man in the comics or in his history, it's in this game, and it's really cool to see that. I feel like I remember his name. Yuri Lowenthal, I think, is the guy who does the voice acting for Peter Parker and Spider-Man in this game. The voice acting all across the board was great, but he killed it as Spider-Man. This is a Spider-Man that essentially has been Spider-Man for 8 years now, so he's a seasoned vet, but at the same time, he's still in his 20s, he's still in his prime. Yuri Lowenthal does such a great job at bringing the character to life. There are so many great Spidey-isms scattered throughout the game, so many moments where Spider-Man quips or he jokes, even in the middle of fights, where you're just like, yep, that's my Spider-Man. Even during the more serious and heavy emotional moments that the game has, and trust me, there are plenty of them. Yuri really sells you on the feels. Gotta get into the gameplay for this shit, because the gameplay is just, oh my god, it's sex. I'm serious, if you're a virgin and you haven't had sex yet, I'm pretty sure all you have to do is plug this game in and rub one out. There's no difference. There is no literal difference. I mean, unless we're talking about you having the opportunity to have sex with like Serena Williams or Trina or something like that, because come on, that's a higher form of sex. Relatively speaking, people, you know what I mean, but either way, when it comes to the gameplay, it's just, it's Spidey-gasmic. When it comes to a great Spider-Man game, I feel like the swinging system kind of can determine how good or shitty the game is going to be. Here, the swinging is so much fun, it is so much interactive, it allows you to take full control of Spider-Man, and you get to do a whole bunch of really cool shit while you're swinging. Different twirls twirls and spins and flips and somersaults. The web zipping system is so awesome. It really does a great job at controlling you as you fly through the air. And this game gets rid of those dumb glitches in the past where maybe you would run into a building and all of a sudden your momentum would stop. No, if you like brush up aside a building or something like that in this game, Spider-Man just starts running alongside the building, and it's fucking awesome, man. In general, the ability to Usain Bolt on pretty much any surface that Spider-Man is on, whether it's a building or whether it's a sign or whatever it is, it's much appreciated, seriously. You get into the combat, you start to realize, yes, the combat system is very similar to Arkham, it's true. There are these big kabam noises that happen when you do a finisher on a certain guy. I mean, these guys surround you similar to how the criminals in Arkham surround Batman. Your head flashes every time somebody's about to hit you. In the Arkham games, it's because Batman is Batman and he just knows when people are about to hit him, apparently. But in this game, it's obviously because of the spider sense. And while I would say definitely the combat is similar to Arkham, I would say it's similar in all the good ways. I mean, if you're going to emulate anything combat system-wise, the Arkham games aren't a bad place to start. And the combat system at the same time is still complex enough and still distinct enough to make it feel like Spider-Man. Like, you don't feel like you're Batman in a Spider-Man game. You feel like you're Spider-Man in a Spider-Man game. They also do a great job with the henchmen and the criminals in this game at switching it up and making the enemies varied. And definitely there's a lot of guys that are going to get on your nerves in this game. Guys that you can't actually hit. You have to like use your gadgets and webs and stuff like that to hurt them. They're going to have crowbars or sticks or something like that and they can block your attacks. You have to find a way around that. Fuck the Sable bitches. The Sable bitches got on my nerves because there's so many of them and they have so many guns and all of them can like shoot you at the same time. Cool gadgets that you can interplay into the combat. So many cool ways that you can integrate powers from your suit. Which is another thing I feel like I should be mentioning, that the suit and the powers that the suits can give you is just... it's awesome, and some of these powers, I'm just going to tell you right now, they're going to save your life. There's also enough moments in the game where you actually get to be Peter Parker, because that's one thing that this game nails even more than I think some of the live-action movies, even more than some of the stories that we've seen in other Spider-Man games. While Peter Parker is a badass superhero and he has all these responsibilities to New York, he's also still a regular guy. Same guy that can beat the shit out of Shocker or Tombstone, which you do fight in this game, but at the same time, when you get back to the real world, you realize, holy shit, Peter Parker just got evicted from his apartment. Parker has to figure out where he's going to stay. I mean, these are the type of problems that Peter Parker does have, and that whole struggle between the balance of his life as Spider-Man and his life as Peter Parker. They nailed that in this game. Like, they nailed it perfectly. So sometimes you do have to spend quite a bit of time as Peter Parker, and you have to walk through certain things, and they do a great job also in this game at utilizing Peter Parker and his intellect. A lot of people don't seem to realize that Peter Parker is actually one really smart mofo. Like, this dude is one of the smartest people on the planet. This game definitely puts you through the ringer when it comes to Peter Parker's intellect. There's definitely a few challenges and a few things you have to do when you're at Octavius's lab or when you're analyzing stuff out in the city that puts a stress on your brain as well as Peter's brain. You have to actually slow down and think about some shit. And that's the great thing about Peter Parker is, yeah, he's Spider-Man and he can lift a tank and he can beat his way out of all these situations, but he can also outthink his way out of a lot of situations. And this game really paid attention to that aspect of the character. It also paid attention to all the other great aspects of Peter's life, namely Aunt May and Mary Jane. I already know some people are going to have problems with Mary Jane and some of the side missions. To be honest, I actually kind of dug them. I always look forward to any excuse in a game where I get to work on situations where I don't have to just button mash my way out of it, where I have to actually use some stealth and actually use some critical thinking. Definitely moments with Mary Jane in this game where you have to use stealth and you have to use critical thinking, and you can't just, Spider-Man your way out of the situation. And I like the fact that it gave Mary Jane a purpose. It gave her a stake in the story. It gave her her own story. She wasn't just the former love interest. She wasn't just the damsel in distress. She actually had goals and motives and an actual placement in the story of this game, and I really appreciated that. A lot of people are going to compare her to Lois Lane. Yeah, it's pretty much unavoidable. In this game, she's essentially a reporter for the Daily Bugle, and she's doing all the tough-ass shit that Lois Lane usually does when she works for the Daily Planet. Think about this. We've never actually had a chance to play as Lois Lane in any other Superman game, so if she's going to emulate somebody, it should be Lois Lane. And if this is your first opportunity to see how Mary Jane, aka Lois Lane, works in a video game with the main hero still attached, I mean, they could have done worse. I also love the fact that this game serves as a quintessential Peter Parker Spider-Man story, but it also kind of low-key serves as a backdoor origin for Miles Morales. I actually was surprised that Miles Morales was in this game as much as he is. There are a few stealth missions that he has to go through, just like Mary Jane, where you have to sneak around. There was one involving Rhino that I'm not going to lie, my heart was beating a little bit too fast during this sequence. The point is, they do a great job at setting his character up and making you care about him and making you care about how he fits into Peter's world. And then the ending of this game, man, it's just such a great tease for going forward with Peter and Miles and all the things they could do together. I want to give a quick shout out to John Pisano or Pastrami. I don't know. I can't remember his last name, but the composer for the music of this game. Wow. I mean, you did the damn thing, buddy. You did the damn thing. Music in this game is beautiful, man. It is such a great score. It is beautifully composed. The theme for Spider-Man and for everything else that happens in this game, it's almost iconic. Like the theme that plays when you're swinging through the city, it's just, it gets stuck in your head and you can't help but hum it. As far as the story goes in this game, I love the setup. I love the way everything unfolds. The game starts with you taking out Kingpin, which apparently Spider-Man and the cop that he's working with in the game, Yuri, apparently they've been waiting a long time to take out Kingpin. So they take out Kingpin, but then there's like a trickle-down effect, and then there's like a chain reaction of events that leads up to the reveal of the Sinister Six later in the game. I love the way they integrate the Sinister Six into this game. I love the fights with the Sinister Six. You get to fight Electro, and you get to fight Vulture at the same time. You get to fight Rhino, and you get to fight Scorpion at the same time. Granted, that fight was a little bit more difficult for me. Really, it's just Scorpion. Like, if it was just Rhino, it wouldn't really be that hard, but Scorpion's such a bitch, man. He's just sitting off on the side, and he shoots his little acid turd at you, and it's just irritating. You got a few side villains that are not too hard. I mean, you got Taskmaster, you got Tombstone, you got Shocker. You also have to do this really cool challenge where you track down some tokens and you're trying to find out where Black Cat is, and once you get to the end of it, she gives you a new suit. So, yeah, Peter was hitting that right. The most heartbreaking stuff in this game has to do with Otto Octavius, because you know exactly where everything is going with his character, but you care so much about it because you care about how Peter cares about him. Peter looks up to this guy, and he's a really big mentor for him, so when everything starts happening with Octavius, you just can't help but feel sorry for Peter. The stuff that they did with Otto Octavius in this game is brilliant emotionally. The stuff they did with Peter, the ending with Aunt May, the ending with Mary Jane, I mean, everything. The way they tied this game all together with the Sinister Six and the story that started with Mr. Negative and Kingpin. Not only is it satisfying in a narrative way, but it's also great emotionally. Like, emotionally, I had so many things going through my heart and mind and body at the end of this game. The only things that irritated me in the game are, yeah, there are definitely a few glitches, I'm not gonna lie. There's one glitch in particular where somehow I got hit with a missile through a building. Like, the missile came right through the building, and I was like 5 blocks away from like the nearest enemy, so I don't know what happened, but I just kind of went with it. The thing I hate about the game is fuck the pigeons, okay? Fuck the pigeons. There is a side mission that involves pigeons, and look, I have nothing against pigeons in real life, but fuck the pigeons in this game. Seriously. Fucking pigeons. I hate those things. Seriously, pigeons do not fly that fast. Pigeons do not have that quick change of direction like they have in this game. They're irritating. They're irritating to find. They're irritating to track down. I hate the fucking pigeons. Also a little bit disappointed that we didn't get to explore other parts of New York. Like, we didn't get to go over any of the bridges. We didn't get to explore the raft. We didn't get to explore the sewer system or anything like that. Well, maybe that's stuff that's going to be unlocked in a future DLC. But the point is, Spider-Man as a game, all around, it's just everything. It's everything a Spider-Man fanboy like me was asking for, was wanting. Everything that I thought we might get when I saw them start to preview this game a year or two ago. This game was fantastic, and I'm going to give it a score of, let's say about 9.5 out of 10. I'm making up this rating system as I go along, so don't pay me no mind. So guys, have you played Spider-Man? What did you think about it? Tell me in the comment section below. What was your favorite moment of the game? What was your favorite boss battle or most difficult boss battle? You can tell me that too. Tell me what some of your theories and ideas are about the sequel that they could be coming out with. I mean, the ending credit scene of this game is a doozy, involving the Osborns and involving Miles. I mean, there's just a lot they could do with this thing. This is the first game review that I've done on my channel. I'm actually kind of happy that Spider-Man is the one that got my cherry popped, but I am going to be doing more video game reviews going forward, so stay tuned. Please like and subscribe to the Superfan Show, and as always, if you like what you see, tell me how you feel, and stay tuned to hear more from the Man of Steel. Peace!